It's Lisa from Critters'n Ink Designs in Ontario, Canada. This actually is a remake. I did my best to do an on live, a Facebook Live this afternoon, and if it could go wrong, it went wrong. So I thought, you know what, rather than try to splice 3 different videos together, I'm just gonna start over and redo the card, and it couldn't possibly go worse than it did earlier. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and do the card that I tried to do earlier. First of all, I use an old cell phone to video my desk part, like from here. And oops, this is going to fall. And then so halfway through, it just died. For some reason, the power, I don't know if it's my extension cord or whether it's my power box. I have no idea. But anyway, the phone wasn't charging and it was discharging quicker because I was videoing, and it just died. And then fine, so I switched to my personal phone, my new phone, and that was fine. And then 3/4 of the way through, my computer died because it wasn't charging. So I've switched out all the cords on everything and plugged into different plugs on the floor. So cross your fingers, hopefully this will go, and I will post this on YouTube and delete the one that's on Facebook, or the two and a half that are on Facebook, and replace it with the YouTube file if that goes well. So wish me luck. All right, so let me go down to my well, actually I'll show you what we're using. We're going to be using Layers of Beauty, and this is a new stamp set that's going to be in the new catalog that comes out in May. And if you're a demonstrator, now I was lucky enough to be able to order this a month ahead of everybody because I was at On Stage a couple of weeks ago, and we were given a sneak peek preview so that we could order. We had a limited list of what we could order. So I just loved this suite. So I bought the whole suite because I'm obsessed with these layering stencils. Absolutely obsessed. And you know, like I did a video on the other set of layering stencils that we have, and I sure hope that Stampin' Up continues to do these layering stencils because I love them. Absolutely love them. So anyway, the card that we're making is this cute what do you call this? Trellis card. And so this is a variation of a trellis card that I saw on, I think, Pinterest. So yeah, I just thought this was the cutest thing. So we're going to go ahead and make this card. So let's clear off my desk here, and I'll go down to my desk. There we are. And so the first thing we need to do is to create the floral, because that takes kind of the most time. So let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Alta New stamp wheel. Now, if you haven't seen this, I saw this on YouTube and I thought this is a great tool because we can't get the Stamparatus anymore. And I do have a Stamparatus, but if you don't have a stamp positioning tool, this is a great one and it's very affordable. So what I'm going to do is I have a piece of cardstock, basic white, that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm just going to pop that right kind of in the middle of my stamp wheel. And this has a sticky mat, like right in here. It comes out, and I've taken it out and used it for stenciling from time to time. But what I want to do is take this big floral that we have, this big giant floral, and I want to position it on my paper because we're going to stamp it on the cardstock with a new color that just came out that will be available as of May the 2nd. It's called Basic Beige, and they're adding this to the core colors, and it's kind of right in between. Now, Very Vanilla doesn't have an ink anymore. I believe it used to before I came on the scene, but we don't have a very vanilla ink pad, so it's lighter than crumb cake. So it's quite lovely. So I'm going to lay this into my frame and just press down to pick up my stamp. And you can see my paper hasn't moved at all. And so I don't have to worry. Like even with the Stamparatus with magnets, if I was to pull this off, my paper would move and I'd have to reposition it. So this I love, love, love. So let me grab my basic beige, and I'm just going to lightly ink up my floral. And I don't want a lot of ink like to show, so I'm just going to do it one time. So let me turn this around. And what I've done on here, I've put a little enamel dot at the top and bottom so that I know that that's top and bottom, which is really going to be helpful if I'm doing like a wreath or something. And then I'm just going to place this in here and give it a little quick press. And there's my design. Now, if I wanted to ink it up, if I wanted a darker design, I would just go ahead and ink it up and place it down and re-ink it. Now, this is going to fade as we add color to it and as it dries. So I'm just going to place this out of the way so I don't get ink on anything. Well, actually, I should probably clean it because knowing me, I will get ink on something. So let me just give this a quick clean. There. Set that over there for now. But I'm going to leave my stamped image inside of my frame. And I'll show you why. And I'm really excited about this. It doesn't take much to, like, you know, fire me up. This is awesome. Okay, so let me take my stencils out of the package. And there are 5 of them. And they're numbered 1 to 5. I don't know, can you see that? Yeah, there's the 1. Sheesh, doesn't show up. Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, so there's the 1. So when I was doing it earlier, I had my picture was framed differently, my stamped image. So what I need to do is I'm just going to grab my cloth here, and I'm going to put some alcohol on it, and I'm going to take off my ink from earlier, and it's not coming off as easily as I thought it would. There we go. Excuse me. There. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to put my stencil on here the way I need it to go, like this, and actually, yeah, like this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to move this up because my stencil's not fitting on there. So let me just place this the way it fits into my stencil. There. And then I'm going to put it like this. Actually, I'll use my ink because it didn't all come off. There. Now this is just going to stick right to this sticky mat, and my paper is now stuck to my sticky mat. So I did a yellow one and a pink one earlier, but I absolutely am just smitten with the pink one. So we're going to go ahead and use the pink again. And believe it or not, I got all those different layers of color just using Bubble Bath. So let me grab my my little brush, and I'm on layer 1, and I'm just going to ink it up. And I'm just going to give a light little color of the bubble. I was going to call it baby bath, the bubble bath, like this. I've been doing this so much, I'm going to have to re-ink my bubble bath already because I keep stenciling with it because I love it so much. And I'm just going to give a little bit of extra color down in the middle here a little bit. So that's well inked, I think. So we can peel this off. There. So there's layer number 1. So stencil number 2 is going to go in the same place. So I'm going to line that up. Like that. And I'm just going to layer on some more of the bubble bath. So, I mean, it's just like any kind of coloring. The more you do it, the more color you're adding, the deeper the color is going to get. So let's just go in there. And I don't have to be heavy-handed. I can just go in and add a second layer. And it's going to pop that color right up. So pretty. Yeah, I sure hope they come up with more of these because I just love them. All right, so that's color number 2. Look at that. And that's still using the same color of ink. It's unbelievable. All right, layer number 3. Number 3. So let me pop this onto here. And I'm just finessing it by making sure that the holes are over the white part of the flowers. And then I'm just going to press down, and now my stencil won't move. I absolutely love this Stampin' Wheel. Now, again, I can't remember the name of the shop in Oshawa, but I will post it. And I just, you know, as I said, I bought it online because I wasn't going anywhere near Oshawa. Oshawa is about an hour and a half from me. So, you know, it was a bit of a hike. And I just thought, I'm just going to see if, you know, what their minimum order was. And so between this and I think I ordered, oh, I don't even know what, something not very expensive to get to my minimum, which is not very much. I think their minimum for free delivery, like you can pay for delivery for anything, but I think for free delivery was $125. So I had to order one more thing, and I honestly can't remember what it was, and it was here within a few days. And there was a lovely little thank you note in it, and a little candy. Like, it was really sweet. All right, so there's our 3 colors of pink. Like, just look at that. 3 colors of pink from one ink pad. So beautiful. So now we're going to go ahead and do the leaves. So I need layer number 4, and we're going to use Old Olive. So is that number 4? Yep, number 4. Okay, so let's pop that in there. Just want to make sure I'm in the right spot here. Come on. There we are. I was overthinking it. And you say, oh, no, not you. Like, oh, yeah, me. I overthink everything. All right, so let's ink up with Old Olive. And I'm just going to give the first layer a kind of a light hand a little bit. There. So cute. Now I'm just going a little bit heavier, kind of on the inside. As I mentioned on my Facebook Live, I think I'm going to hunt down some of those little mini, they're about the size of a pencil, but they're like these, only like a stick. Just for trying to get into like little areas like inside the leaves and things like that. Because this is it doesn't really do like small areas very well. All right, so that's the leaves. And then I'm going to go in with stencil number 5 to do the detail for the leaves. So let's line this up. Why does this seem crooked? There we go. Oh, there we go. Okay. I had it over just a little bit, I think. There. All right, so now I'm just going to load up with old olive again. And just going to go in a little bit darker. And you can see I'm not pressing hard, but I'm just layering color upon color. So that's where you get the extra color. Now I can see it was off a little bit here, but you know what? That doesn't bother me. It's just a little bit like watercolor. If it's not perfect, it's fine. So let's lift that off and just look at that. Like, oh, did I miss a spot? Yes, I did. Okay, I'm going to pop that back on because apparently I missed a spot. Let's see. I missed a whole section. What was I thinking? There we are. Okay, so I forgot all of these over here. There we go. I thought it looked a little light. That's better. Alrighty. Beautiful. There. So there's our floral. How pretty. And that's only using 2 colors. You'd never know it. All right, let's close up this. Get these guys out of the way so I don't get ink on anything. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my die, my large floral die, and I can take this out of the way. And I'm going to line up my die. And I'm just going to take some washi tape and just, I'm going to grab a different washi tape. That one's driving me crazy. I don't know if that one's just gotten dehydrated over time. It shreds like mad. Like not shreds, but you know when you have a piece of packing tape and it starts to sort of dwindle down to just a little thread and then you can't pick up that little thread and the whole thing gets all squirrely. That's what it's doing. It's making me nuts. All right, so let's pop this onto here. Like that. All right. All right, give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to run this through the die cutting machine. All right, so here's our floral. And so now we can go ahead and start the actual card. Okay. So let's see. For the card, I have an old olive card base, and then I have a piece of basic white that is, I I'm going to trim it to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. No, I'm going to trim it to 4 by 5 1/4. 4 by 5 1/4. And I must have green on my fingers. And then I'm going to, I've got 6 strips that are of basic white that are 3/8 by 8 1/2. So let's get our card base out of here. Oh, you know what it is? I'm getting ink off my stencils. So let me move these over here so I don't get ink on anything. All right, so I've got my 6 pieces of basic white, and what I need to do with this is 4 inches across. So what I'm going to do is take a pencil and I'm going to mark it at the 2-inch mark. So 2 inches is here. That's my middle. And then I'm going to mark at 1/4 of an inch on each side of that center mark. So 1/4 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. And you'll see why in a second. Now, the reason I'm doing it in pencil is because before I put my next layer on, I'm going to want to erase that. All right, so I have one of my 3/8 of an inch pieces here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, I wish I could zoom in. I'm going to put the edge right on the corner of that, and then on this side I'm going to line up the same edge with that 1/4 inch mark that's just to the right of the center. And I'm going to take a little piece of washi tape and I'm going to pop that down like that because I don't want it to move. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So I'm going to line up the bottom with the 1/4 inch from center, but on the left side. And then this is going to go right to the corner on the right side. And I'm going to tape that one into place. Okay. So there's our first 2 pieces. The next one, I'm going to, let me think about this. I'm going to put the edge of the strip on the left bottom corner, and I'm going to line up the strip with the dot at the top to the right of the center. So the 1/4 inch mark that's to the right of the center. So it's always the opposite. So I've got the left corner with the left side of the strip, and then the left side of the strip is on the dot that's to the right of the center. Okay, I just need another piece of washi tape because I don't want it to move. Okay, I'm going to put a little piece there and a little piece up here. There. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So I'm going to put this to the right of center, and I'm going to line it up with the furthest, or sorry, to the left of center, my apologies. So there's center, and there's my tick mark to the left of center. So I'm going to line this up to there, and I'm going to line this side right to the corner of the page. And I'm going to pop that under some tape so it doesn't move. So I've got my bottom here, and I've got my top here. Okay, now for my center ones, I'm just going to center them as best as I can. So I want it sort of equidistant between the 2 that are going this way. So there's maybe a 1/4 of an inch in between. And I'm going to pop some washi tape on there. It seems like a big mess of washi tape, but honestly, it isn't. It'll all come off because that's why we're using washi tape, obviously. All right, so I'm just going to pop some tape on there because, again, I don't want it to move. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to center that in between, just like that. And pop some washi tape on there. Because I don't want it to move. There, beautiful. Okay, so what I need now is my silicone mat, or you can use the Stampin' Pierce mat if you have one handy. And I'm going to flip this over so that my lattice is on this side. So flip it over so that it's underneath. Make sure I have the right side. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to, I guess it doesn't matter. This one is a little bit crooked here. I'll take another piece of tape because it went over past the corner and I don't want it to do that. There. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to just score right next to my piece of paper here, like right on the strips, right against my card base. There. So now I'm just going to fold them. There we go. And then this one is going to go like that. Perfecto. So you can see. Now I'm going to take my glue bottle and I'm just going to put glue along the sides of the two on each side of the middle. And I'm going to push those down. Now for these guys, I'm only going to put glue sort of, near the top because most of this is going to hang off and we're going to trim it off, but you do want it secure. So I'm just going to put glue right there. I guess I could put a little bit down the one side, but not a lot because I don't want it oozing out all over the place. Like it was. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. So there's our lattice. Isn't that cool? I mean, it doesn't look cool with all the tape on it, but trust me, it's very cool. All right, so now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to trim those wings off. Hopefully I've given it enough time to adhere its little self. I can see I have a little piece here. I'm just going to trim that off. There. And then, now I need to trim these off of the bottom, but what I want to do first is I want to create, you know how when you have a fruit pie and the top crust is all like woven? That's what I want to do. Excuse me. Can you believe I've never made a pie? My husband couldn't believe it. I've never, in my almost 70 years, have never made a pie. Like never. So It's on my bucket list, I guess. I don't know. I've never really, I don't particularly love pie, so I guess it's not something that's ever occurred to me to make. Because I could go my whole life and not eat pie and not miss it. So, and the only time my kids ever had pie was if they went to Grandma's house. My mother-in-law used to be a good pie maker. And so if we had pie, that's where we had it. Sure as heck wasn't for me. Yeah, I'd much rather have like a crumble or a date square or something like that. And I didn't used to have a sweet tooth, but my husband has a really sweet tooth. And so over the years, I've developed not a sweet tooth, but you know, if somebody offers me something really tantalizing like a lemon square or something, I'm not going to turn it down. That is my favorite. Between that and date squares, they're my favorites. And then one of my team members, Susan, she makes the most amazing cookies. And it's like an oatmeal cookie, but it has dates and white chocolate. Oh, I tried making them. Hers are way better than mine. There. Okay. All right, so what we want to do now is we kind of want to weave these so that they are like pie, kind of. So this one needs to go under there. I guess we'll do it in order because obviously this isn't gonna. So that needs to go. What the heck? Okay, so that needs to go under here. This needs to go over here. And then this one needs to go. Let's get these out of here. Under. And then that goes over. That goes under. That goes over. And then this one, so you know, obviously you're just doing the opposite of what the previous one was. So this one needs to go under, and then over, and then under. There. Ta-da! Beautiful. All right, so now what we need to do is get these back where they were. So I'm going to take my little pieces of, I kind of stuck them all together, but I just want two. There's two that are critical of where they go. So this one, the edge needs to go with the edge of the card. So I'm going to tape that one into place. And the same thing on the other side. So I want this one to make sure that it still lines up with the edge of this side. Oops. Like that. And then the two middle ones, you want them to make sure that they're like beside your little tick marks here. So I'm going to put a little piece of tape there to hold that where it needs to go. I stuck all my washi tape on top of each other, so now they're sticking together. And then this one needs to go a little bit this way. And then these two middle guys need to go like in the center. So what I need to do now is there. So I'm going to take my glue bottle and I'm going to go underneath where they need to be and just pop a little dot of glue. You could use glue dots if you wanted to. I like my liquid glue because it's, to me, a little bit more permanent, I guess. And so I'm just going underneath each little layer. Like that. Just going to lift this one up a smidgen to see if I can get under it. There we go. Okay, and that's the one that has to line up with this a tick mark. And then that's going to go under, oops. And then this one I want to get underneath here. And make sure he's centered. And that's going to go under there. And that's going to go there. Let's stick some glue in there. There, I think we're pretty good. This one's over a little bit. Okay, there we are. Now you want to make sure that you don't put a lot of glue so that it doesn't smoosh out, because then you'll be gluing your, what do you call this, lattice to the bottom part of your card, which you don't want to do. So I'm going to let that sit for just a few seconds. That seems like it's all glued. Oh, I could use a little bit under here, I guess. There we are. There, I'm just going to let that set. And I'm going to pull off our washi tape. We don't need that anymore, I don't think. Whoever invented washi tape is a genius. I love washi tape. There, beautiful. Okay. Beautiful. And I didn't stick it to itself. All right, so now what you want to do is grab your eraser, and I highly recommend getting one of these white architect erasers because they don't leave any marks behind. I made the mistake of using the eraser on the end of my pencil, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, but these erasers seem to dehydrate, and then if there's any pencil on it, it smears right onto your project and it makes a real mess. So I've had this one for quite a while. It's just, I just got it at Staples, and it's an architect eraser and it works amazing. There. So now we're ready for our next step. So what I did was I took a piece of vellum. Now here's a heads up. I don't think vellum is carrying over to the next catalog for some reason. So if you need vellum, I would get it sooner than later, because I went through the catalog and honestly I couldn't find vellum anywhere. And thick basic white is also or sorry, not thick basic white, thick very vanilla is also not going to be in the next catalog. So if that's something that you use on a regular basis, you might want to go ahead and order that before the new catalog comes out in May. So what I did was I took a piece of the vellum and I ran it through this, it's a brand new embossing folder, and I cannot remember the name of it. It is Eyelet. So it's the Eyelet embossing folder. This is coming new in the new catalog. And I ran it through the embossing folder in the vellum. And I'm just going to glue that. Oh, I need to trim it to 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to glue that right in there. So let me just quickly grab my trimmer. So 4 by 5 1/4. It's interesting. When I embossed it, I got a hole in it, but I'm going to use it anyway. So I'm going to pop this on here because it's white on white. So 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to just put a bead of glue along the top, like just a small bead, because you don't want your adhesive to show through your vellum. Oof, look at that. Must have had a booger in there. Let me just clean it. Oh, I did. And there it is. All right. Let's try that again. There, just a very small bead. And I'm wondering if I need to put one on the bottom too, or just let it float. Why tempt fate? I'm going to put a little bead across the bottom too. And across the sides. But I'm being very light-handed with it, so I don't think it's going to show. There. I actually don't think that's going to show. All right, so let's pop that down on there. You could go a little smaller if you wanted to. You could go 3 3/4 or 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 if you wanted to, just to have a little like border around. But this one fits just fine, and I like it that way. So that looks really pretty. So now that we have all that other stuff done, I can flip this over now, and I'm just going to trim my tails off. There we go. Okie doke. So now we can put this onto our card base, which again is Old Olive. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue that right on there. Make sure this is well glued so these guys don't pop up. Okay, and I'm just going to center that right on there. Beautiful. All right, so next we are going to put this onto our trellis. So I'm going to use the mini glue dots. And instead of trying to sort of figure out where the trellis is going to fit under the flowers, I'm going to place this here, and then I'm just going to lift up the flowers and pop the dimensional right underneath onto the trellis part. So I'm just going to turn this so I can lift this up, pop that there, and then that needs to come up a bit. Yep, perfect. And take the cover off of that one because it didn't come off. All right, so next I'm actually going to take the cover off it, I think, and then just place it. Now you could just glue this. You could just stick your little glue schnozzle under there and you know, just glue it, but I kind of like the idea of it being popped up. So I'm just going to do it that way. It's a bit fiddly, but you know what? For the finished product, it's absolutely worth the effort. This is sticking to me. Come on, off you go. It's like the cat when she's not getting enough attention. She's like a little dimensional, sticking right on you. There. So I didn't do a video after on stage, and I probably should have. We had a blast. I was with my sister-in-law and my friend Jennifer. We had so much fun and learned a lot, saw all the new products, all the new colors. But when I got back, of course, I also have a quilting business, and my quilting machine was giving me fits. My own machine I had to send for service to the States, and it's in Iowa at the moment being overhauled. So I have a loaner, and the loaner was being a real jerk, and I was having terrible issues with thread breaks and different things, and it took me, well, 2 weeks. I finished it yesterday. 2 weeks to do like a 6-hour job. And at one point I just said to Glenn, like, I don't know why I do this. Like, it was just but anyway, it's all been resolved. I haven't got my machine back, but we figured out what was bugging the other machine, and it's happy now. And I was able to get that quilt finished yesterday. But oh my Lord, I'm telling you, I was fit to be tied all last week. Every half an hour I had a thread break, and I felt like I was going backwards instead of forwards. So I had no time for Stampin' Up. So that was very frustrating for me. This dimensional's giving me grief. Come on, down you go. There we go. And yeah. So it's nice when things work. It's not so nice when things do not work. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Love it. The only thing missing on this is some Wink of Stella and a sentiment. So let's just quickly put some Wink of Stella on this. Now, for those of you who've been trying to order Wink of Stella, it's been out of, it hasn't been available for a few weeks now. And so we got a notice from Stampin' Up the other day that apparently the manufacturer was having trouble getting what they needed to manufacture it. So they've got a new supplier, and things are under control once again. And we should have Wink of Stella back in stock soon. So I'm happy about that, because I put Wink of Stella pretty well on every card I do. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. There. And it's not a lot, but it's just that little shimmer seems to finish off a card. Like, you don't need a ton of it, you just need a little bit. There, just put a little bit in the veins of the leaf. Beautiful. There, put a little bit over here. And you don't even have to be really like precise with it. You just have to just put it on. Put it on. All right, so that's that. Now, we need a sentiment. So what I decided to do was I had a scrap of black, basic black. And now I have this here because, as you know, as I mentioned, I was trying to do a Facebook Live earlier, and it was an unmitigated disaster. So I have a piece of basic black that I've already put Embossing Buddy on. And what Embossing Buddy does is it reduces the static and or fingerprint oils or anything like that that's going to make the embossing powder stick where you don't want it to stick, right? So I'm going to grab an eye block. And the reason I'm using an eye block is because the stamp that I'm using is quite large. Now, what did I do with it? I just had it. What did I do with it? So if somebody told me today that I was losing my marbles, I probably wouldn't disagree with them. Right here. Okay, so I'm using the Sweetly Scripted, and they are an online exclusive. And in Canada, it's $33. I love, love, love these. So I already have them on a block. Now, just a heads up, this block is being discontinued. This is the I block. So the I block and the A block are being discontinued. So if you would like to get a couple, I have 2 of each of them because I use them. But I guess because they weren't that popular, they're discontinuing these 2 blocks. They won't be in the new catalog. So if you would like one, I would definitely order them before the end of May. And because they are being discontinued, there's a good chance they're going to disappear. So I would order them sooner than later. You know, you don't want to leave that, because if you do and then you go to order them, you're going to be disappointed because they'll all be sold out and they're not coming back. All right, so I've got my Versamark ink, and I'm going to ink up my stamp, and this one says happy birthday. There's some really good sentiments on here. There's happy anniversary, congratulations, happy birthday, a million thanks, speedy recovery, and save the date. So, awesome, awesome. So I'm just going to ink this up with the Versamark. I'm going to get this open before I so that my Versamark is ready to go when I'm ready to go. All right, so let's put another little layer on there. And I'm just going to stamp it across here. And I'm just going to scoop some of the white embossing powder on there. All right, so let me grab my heat tool, cover up my ink here. All right, so I've got my heat tool. This never gets old for me. It's like having a new toy. I just watch it. There we go. And you want to kind of keep it moving. You know, you don't want to have it just on one spot. And there we go. See, it's changing. So pretty. Okay, so let's hang that back up. Now I'm just going to take my microfiber cloth here, and I'm going to wipe off the embossing powder, or the embossing buddy powder. There. And now I'm just going to quickly fussy cut this. So you can see here that there wasn't enough embossing buddy there. So the static, or maybe even one of my fingerprints, probably a fingerprint, I managed to get some embossing there that where I don't want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that off. So let me just go around like this. I'm going to go around like that. All fixed. Can you hear Roxy banging on the door? Little squirt. All right, So let's get this glued onto here. So where's my glue? So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue across here. I'm just going to pop that right in the middle, just like that. That is so pretty. So pretty. Oh, I love this. I'm so happy with myself. I just think that is just so stinking pretty. Now over here I have some iridescent pearls. I hope these are not retiring. I'm going to have to check the new catalog and make sure that they're not retiring, because if they are, I'm going to load up on them. I have not had a chance to go. I'll be posting the last chance list in the next few days. As I say, I've been so busy with this fighting quilt machines this past week that I've not been able to work with my Stampin' Up stuff at all. And it's just driving me bonkers. But this weekend, I'm dedicating to Stampin' Up. So there, I've put a couple of pearls on there. Now on the inside, you can take a piece that is 4 by 5 1/4. And again, I have to trim. What I did was I took a whole package of paper and I cut it at 4 1/4. I just cut them in 4, like cut it in 4, so that I would have all of these 4 by 5 1/4, all these pieces ready to go. Excuse me. And I decided to leave them at 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, just in case, you know, for stenciling, or I don't know what I was thinking. But I think I might, next package, I probably will go back to 4 1/4 by 5, 4 by 5 1/4. You know, I just think it's easier to deal with, because then they're ready cut and I don't have to trim every time I go to use one. Because really, the only size of cards that I actually make are the A2, or whatever they're called. So in here, I'm going to use this little floral, and I'm just going to pop it in the bottom quadrant there. Just grab a little block. And I think I'm just going to do it in Old Olive. This is one of my favorite colors. If they ever retire Old Olive, I'm going to be sad. There. And I'm not going to put a sentiment in, because I don't typically put a sentiment in until I'm ready to send them. And then usually I prefer to write a handwritten note to whoever's getting my card, because, you know, people just don't write notes anymore. And I just think getting a note is the nicest thing. And I like getting a handwritten note. There we are. So there's our little trellis card. Isn't that just the cutest thing? I love it. It's very simple. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not crazy, right? So, what do you think? Here's the other one I made earlier when my when my electronics were not being electronic. And that's the one I made earlier, using the same set and the same embossing folder, but just, you know, just a basic layout. And I've got the flowers going in the opposite direction. So there's my little card. I hope you enjoyed these. Thanks for spending some time with me. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.